It's time to get your checking account to zero with free checking from PenFed. That's zero ATM fees, zero balance requirements, and zero time spent waiting for your paycheck to direct deposit because you can receive it up to 1 day early. Open your account with just $25 and see how big zero can be. Apply online today at penfed.org/free checking. Early direct deposit eligibility may vary between pay periods and timing of payers' funding. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.
Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas, and this is my novel, The Supermarket Murders. I'm looking at the woman. I have kept her in my gaze. I tried to captivate her, but I don't know a proper question. I know indeed that this very moment is very vital later on for probable confessions. But I decide not to pose a question, but to help her to visualize the murder in order to further exacerbate her agony, her mental torture, which I assume, because assumably she knew the victim, Mr. Jenkins. I tell her he was shot in the face. He bled all over the supermarket floor. It was a hideous sight. And she seems devastated by this revelation. She is close to tears, tries to gain her composure. She doesn't wanna give in, doesn't wanna show too often, too openly. She probably practiced for this very moment. She was probably told or brought here. Who knows? But she is struggling with herself. She sits down, unable to utter something. She stammers. She wants to say something, but she loses courage. Maybe she fears. Maybe she's afraid that her whiny tone would give something away. She still has to refrain herself. But then she brings out the weak meager. Did he suffer? This may seem cruel, but this is mostly what people ask who care for another person. Did he suffer? Did this person suffer in order to relieve themselves from any probable guilt? I am not a medic, I tell her, but everyone suffers who is been robbed of his life and leaves back loved ones, people he might have been together with, and this strikes her. I have her where I want her. She still tries to rein in her emotions. I know that I have to leave her alone. I know that I have to leave her alone in order to weep. so that she later on might do the right thing. I tell her I have to leave. We have to investigate this murder. Injustice was done. I emphasize the word injustice. She doesn't oppose. She almost concedes. It was injustice. I walk past her slowly and leaving her to her thoughts. I leave the home of Mr. Jenkins. I'm still pondering. Why did he come back? What was his business? This was his home, yes. Probably his parents built this home. This is very common among migrants from Europe, that they build homes for themselves, and maybe in the future their children will inherit eventually some of their property or even live there. But this is not true for Americans. You do not fly all the way from America to live in Turkey. Americans, in special, they are very prejudiced about other countries. Americans assume that they live in the most advanced country on God's earth. So for an American, even the thought to spend one's life or even a vacation abroad seems ridiculous. At least most Americans think that way, that it does not make any sense whatsoever. Waste away your life in a third world country where you do not have access to civilization whatsoever. So why did he come back? Why did he come to Ordu in this city? Apparently he was not here for vacation. It is winter. Mr. Jenkins, as far as I assume, probably did not engage in skiing. He was not interested in winter tourism. He could have had it cheaper in the States, somewhere in Aspen, or in Europe, somewhere in Austria, in Swiss, or in the French Alps. So this is not the time for vacation. I leave Mr. Jenkins' home. Still, I walk past the worn down stairs. People did not take care of this property. It almost seems dilapidated. I walk outside. Murat has been waiting for me. He tells me in an indifferent manner that we have someone who confessed. We have a witness. Yeah, what kind of witness? A woman who knew Mr. Jenkins. Or did she? Yes. I get in the car and we drive to the police station. The police station is at odds. People gaze at me. The Turkish police is apparently uncomfortable having a foreigner among themselves. They look at me in contempt. I hear even whispers of some who say, this is the American, this is the foreigner. And others thought, why do we need a foreigner? Why did you bring in a foreigner in this issue? So emotions run high in this police precinct. And I look at the police men. They are mostly men. I can't make out a woman. And I see that some of them are wearing uniforms, police uniforms, which do not fit properly, like those in the supermarket. Some of them are too big, too baggy, some of them running around in baggy police pantaloons. Some of them are wearing shirts which are way too small. So where did these people get their uniforms from? Or is the Turkish police running low on money? Didn't they have enough money to buy decent uniforms? This is all dubious, to say the least. I have a clear view at the interrogation room. It is, it fits the purpose. Probably the person who sits in this interrogation room sees a big mirror like those you would see in the movies. A mirror where you're supposed to see yourself, which has, in a way or another, a psychological effect. You should gaze at yourself. You should see yourself. You should look at yourself while you are lying or saying the truth, while you are supposed to do the right thing. And I see a blonde woman. She's tall. She is not beautiful. She rather is, I would say, not thin. She is not obese. Rather a little bit chubby. And despite the fact that the rooms here in the police precinct seems to be heated well, she's wearing a jacket like she would be freezing. She looks steady, almost determined, committed to say the truth, to be a witness to whatsoever. I see Murat entering the interrogation room. Why does he has to make the interrogation pops up in my mind? But I listen to his questions. At first he asks her name. She says her name is Arzu. And that she is a member of the Leheb family. This is surprising again, because I still have the ID of Melis, the girl from the supermarket, who was a member, or who is a member of the Leheb family as well. And here another coincidence, and I assume because of the close resemblance of the woman in Mr. Jenkins' home with these two women, that the woman in Mr. Jenkins' home was a member of the Leheb family as well. So why is the Leheb family involved in all this? Because this does not fit well. it all seems to be a robbery. It all seems to be, for me, that that a gang or whatsoever tried to rob Mr. Jenkins, tried to take hold of all his possessions. Why is the Lehab family involved in this? Because you know that the Lehab family is, in a way or another, royalty. They are privileged. So no matter who you are, or no matter what qualifications they have, either way they will get a job. Everyone knows that the Lehab family, they don't have to struggle through life. It is pretty much easy for them to accomplish anything, any degree in school, or even get a job. So why would they be involved in this? Are they in dire need of money? Apparently. Maybe they are. And I assume maybe some bad business venture. Maybe something went wrong. Maybe they invested wrongly. I think about all these scenarios which are very common in the States. In the US, there are many families who started out well off, but then somehow could lose or had managed to lose all their possessions. Some bad speculations on the stock market, or some crooked businesses they had taken part of, and then they lost everything. Who knows? Maybe this happened here as well, because this is no coincidence, and it is pretty much clear for me that when the Lehab family is involved in this, the law officers try to look the other way. People, in a way or another, condone some of these families' transgressions, because it is known indeed that some family members are bad apples. However, the interrogation starts, and she tells that she was raped. She tells it in a composure where she's trying to be strong, where she is struggling with herself, hearing her own words. You feel that she is uncomfortable telling that she was raped. It is not easy for rape victims to admit that they have been raped, because this means that you have been a victim. This means that someone or some person have not only access to you but possessed you. This is the hardest part of it. You were in their hands. And I see that she crosses her hands. This is protective. She doesn't want to say too much. This is embarrassing. A man, especially, you don't want to confess or admit that you have been raped to other man, and the big mirror in the interrogation room must, in a way, indicate that other people are listening as well. This is hard. And you can see her struggle. Murad asks, how long has this been going on? She says, for years. Now I get thoughtful. For years. I got report from the American embassy. And in this report, Mr. Jenkins only came to Urdu, to Turkey, only a couple of times. Only a couple of times. And yet, what is this all about? Then Murad asks, who raped you? She says, Mr. Jenkins. She says his full name. Murad asks, are you sure? Yes. And he has been raping you all these years? Yes. Again, I'm not sure what I should think about this. We have an American who flew all the way from the US to Turkey to rape this woman. And he came only a couple of times. Was it worth it? I mean, this may sound cruel, this may sound even hideous to say these things, but couldn't he find someone to rape somewhere in the States? And he drove all the way. And he drove all the way to the US, to Turkey. Have you known him personally? Asks Murad. She says yes. And she is troubled. Now her entire composure breaks down. She is close to tears. She has lost her steadiness. She has lost her determination. The word was a close one. Did you know him personally? Yes, she admits. And this word strikes her. And you see that she's bent over, hunched. She can't look at Murad. She can't look at the interrogator. This is very common. Some people can't look other people's in the eyes, not only when they are lying, but as well as when they have to admit something very intimate, and they are afraid that the interrogator could read it off their, or read it from their eyes, would see it on their faces, so they rather hide, or they want to hide their intimate feelings, their troubles. They can't admit it. Did you have anything to do with the murder of Mr. Jenkins? The woman says no. Well, this was pretty much expected. But I am thoughtful, because I know you could see that she is a victim of abuse. This is something you can pretty much see quite openly. But one thing does indeed bother me, because there are 3 stages of abuse victims, or how they deal with abuse. The first stage is shock. The first stage mostly emerges after the rape. A woman or any person who was being raped or abused is initially, in the beginning, shocked. She or this person does not believe what happened to her. This is your world. Your world was fine. Everything was fine. You had a good time this is mostly true for women who went out, who were in a bar, who had a nice conversation or whatsoever, and then on the way home they were jumped and raped. So they can't really understand what happened. They are shocked. Their world turned upside down. They can't make sense of it. This is the first stage. And this stage is or lingers on in short terms after the rape. For some it persists. Some are struggling to deal with this issue. Then the second stage is some sort of helplessness. You concede in a way that this thing happened to you, but you can't deal with it. This is because if the human mind is put into a situation or into a struggle where he suffered a lot of agony or went through a lot of agony, then this scene or the cause of the agony always re-emerges in your memory. It haunts you. It haunts you through the days. This means especially victims of rape. They are reminded almost every hour, almost every minute on the fact that they had been raped, that they had been abused. So these people mostly are helpless. They can't switch it off. They can't deal with it. Helplessness, this agony. And the third stage is either empathy. This means these people mostly give up. They can't help themselves. Society can't help them because no matter what one tells them, they cannot change it. These memories, these thoughts, they are there. They can't be switched off, and they are from their own a part of the identity of this victim. So this means some of these victims grew apathetic. This means that they abandon society. They wanna rather live alone, detached, wanna be left alone, don't care about social contacts anymore, or even fear social contacts. They don't want to be around other people anymore because it could happen again, because they could become victims again. Or some of these victims swear vengeance. They want to pay them back. They want to get to those people. They want to get to those perpetrators who abused them, who raped them. But it is apparent that this blonde woman was raped. But it is about, the issue is time. Even though she admits that Mr. Jenkins has been raping her for a while. This is not consistent with his traveling behavior, and given that the woman here is in the third stage of how to deal with abuse, how to deal with rape, you can see this on this determination, on this struggle, that she's calm, she's not in shock anymore. She occasionally looks helpless, yes, but still she's committed, still she's determined, but she has notions of apathy. Her clothes are old, worn out moth eaten. You can see they are moth eaten. They are old. And you can see, which is very unusual in Turkey, that she doesn't use much makeup. She does not try to draw attention. These are all indications of apathy. And that she's some sort of secluded. She does not feel comfortable when Murat interrogates her. So, Murat continues asking her whether she lives alone. She says yes. All by yourself. She says yes. You're thoughtful. I get thoughtful because again, she lives an apathetic life. And if someone is apathetic, they mostly do not seek vengeance because they have given up on the hope. And it does not make sense in that meaning because if Mr. Jenkins, as the foreigner, as the American, how he's been considered, had really raped her, why didn't they kill him previously? Because I remember how the police reacted when I entered the police precinct. They looked at me as this foreigner. Why did you bring in a foreigner? So if Mr. Jenkins had raped her in the past, again, in the past and over a period of time, why didn't they get rid of him earlier? Why did they wait so long? And given that she is a member of the Leheb family, they are privileged. It's not easy. It is true. It is not easy for rape victims to come forward. But because she is a member of the Leheb family, it would have been easier for her to talk to someone, at least to a friend, to anyone else. And it is not usual for a member of the Leheb family who are already privileged to fall in apathy, because this is not how you are brought up with. If you are already royalty and someone wronged you, it is way more easier. Or the clash of being abused stands in gross difference to how you brought up, because privileged people, especially when they are some sort of royalty, they know that they are privileged. They are being brought up that they are different or sometimes better, above all others. So this would not suit that a random guy and a foreigner too, like Mr. Jenkins, would be able to rape a member of the Leheb family without getting the punishment. Something is odd here. And Murat asks her then indifferently, this is almost, he was about to get up and only remembered the last question he was supposed to ask her, which everyone would have asked immediately, especially in the middle of an interrogation, you would ask a victim, why did you not speak up earlier? And her answer is, I couldn't. I was afraid. And this answer appears genuine. She was afraid of him, of Mr. Jenkins. And I'm thoughtful now. Maybe he was a violent man. But in order to be a foreigner here in Turkey and to be able to assert so much power in society, he must have had, well, connections. He must have known some people who could, when he's away, abroad, assert power and dominance in his name. But was he connected? Maybe he was. Maybe he was a member of this thugs. Who knows? But it still leaves many questions unanswered. And why now? And it is mostly common that if victims of abuse or rape, they do not want to go and they don't want to go and shoot someone in the face. No, they rather want to disarm the rapist. They want to disarm the abuser. So this would mean that rather, instead of shooting Mr. Jenkins in his face, they must have shot him in his genitalia. This is common and well known, that victims of abuse, they want that especially when they are committed, especially when they swore vengeance, they don't want to hide or conceal the face of an abuser, of a rapist. No, they want the world to see him. So they would not harm his face, they would not distort his face, but rather would kill this person in a way that would disarm him, would shoot him in his genitalia. So what should you make of it? And I'm thoughtful. This interrogation hasn't cleared up anything. Murat comes to me. It is a clear thing he says. He raped her. And she admits it. And she will speak in court. Sure. So we got him. We have to tell it to the Americans. And this thing can be closed. I'm surprised that he wants this thing to be closed so early. What's the rush I require? Well, he says he's uncomfortable. There is a lot of press going on. A lot of people ask questions. This is not... We are a close and small community. We do not want that these things linger on too much. And we want to bring this an end. You know how people abroad report about foreigners, how they chide us what they will probably say about us. So it would make sense that we will close it as soon as possible. And now we have her witness report. And this is enough to convict him. Yeah, but he was shot in a supermarket, and she admits that she has nothing to do with the murder. Yeah, but she probably told it. She probably told her family that he raped her, and because of this they took care of him. Yeah, but she admitted that she only talked to you for the first time, that she hadn't talked to anyone before. Murat grows wary. He looks at me sternly. Look, you and I are friends. I know that in America things are different. I know. I watch. We went to school together, and you seem to be poisoned by the American belief that everything would work out through the legal system, and that everyone would come forward and confess, and then everyone is fine and everyone goes home. But this is not how real life works. This is not how reality works. This is not what I experience every day in my work. You have no leverage whatsoever to pressure rapists. You can't do anything. The only thing you can hope for is that the victim comes forward and incriminates the person who abused her. That's all you can do. And believe me, Murat continues, it is for the best. He was well known as someone who abused other people, who pressured women, cornered women. We all know that. We all know how Americans think about us, about our girls. They come over, strut through the streets and assume they can do with us whatever they want. We know these stories. So it was pretty much clear that this Jenkins thought that too. That was the reason why he came all the way from the States here to Ordu because he wanted to take advantage of our girls. And he met just this. But I don't respond. Murat seems to have made his stance clear. What he is saying to me is that here in Turkey, people take law and justice in their own hands, and that it was good that this person was shot. He adds fleetingly and uncomfortably, when the American ambassador comes, I want you to back me up on this. Can you do that, old chap? I don't respond. I'm thoughtful.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.